So basically, before proceeding with your actual topics, let me tell you the deployment scenario. What we are going to learn as far as this SAP HANA is concerned is we are considering SAP HANA as a data warehousing solution. Which we also call it as SAP HANA Modeling and Implementation. So after going through this training part, you can go for certification if you are interested. You can do the certification called HANA Application Associate. So part of this, what you'll be learning is, we'll be learning about working with your HANA database and performing data modeling in HANA. The next, working with the replication technologies like BODS, SLT, and DXE. And apart from that, we'll be learning about how to integrate reporting tools with HANA Database. This will be the main topics what we'll be dealing with as part of this training practically. So to have a better understanding, it will be always useful for us to know about the implementation landscapes. So today we are going to have a discussion about the implementation landscapes. Usually we come across in any organization when it comes to this HANA modeling and implementation. So in that context, to understand implementation landscapes, it's always better for us to understand, if you go with SAP HANA licensing, what SAP provides to you. As a customer, what we can expect from SAP and what else we need to have in our organization if you want to have a complete end-to-end warehousing solution using SAP HANA.
Hi Malik.
So in that
Hello.
context, first of all, let us try.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, Malik.
Yeah.
Before starting, can I ask everyone to mute their microphone? I'm getting a lot of disturbance here.
Yeah, please better do that.
Thanks.
Otherwise, I can do that. That's not a problem. If you are don't mute me. Now I think it's fine, right? Yeah, that is possible. Yeah. So what we are going to do is, first of all, try to understand when we go with licensing with SAP, what exactly they provide for you. So as we know that SAP HANA, the version available for you is 1.0 with support package stack 07. That's the one which is presently available for you. So actually, SAP has started with the general availability version WebAC 2011 November. So just let me give you a brief idea about the history of the HANA. So they have introduced HANA 1.0 SPS 03. It's a general availability what we have. And then from there onwards, almost every 6 months we have a new support package stack is being released by SAP with some new enhancements. And then somewhere about in April 2012, we have SPS 04 introduced. Then in December 2012, we have SPS 05. And then in June 2013, we have SPS 06. The last December, they've introduced SPS 07. So almost with every support package stack, you can find some enhancements taking place. So it may be related to our modeling, it may be related to some developments, it may be related to administration. So these things happen. But as far as licensing is concerned, what they did is they followed some licensing concept in 03 and 04 version, which they changed from SPS 05. What kind of changes we have as far as licensing is concerned, let me tell you. So with these versions of SAP HANA 03 and 04, they used to have 3 different editions of HANA. Those are, the first one is SAP HANA Platform Edition. This is the most basic edition of HANA what you'll be getting from SAP. SAP HANA Platform Edition. So this is consisting of all the core components of HANA. When we are saying core components, without having these components, there is no HANA implementation possible. Doesn't matter what the deployment scenario is. It may be HANA as a warehousing solution, or it may be BW powered by HANA, it may be Business Suite powered by HANA. Any of these deployment scenarios we take, it's mandatory to have these core components. The core components, what they provide as a part of the platform edition are like this. The first one is HANA Database. You know, this is the most important, HANA DB. So when you are speaking about HANA Database, there are a couple of important points to remember. One thing is, if you want to run your HANA Database, it's not only just taking the software license from SAP. What we have to do is, as a customer, we need to get the appliance also. It's mandatory to have the appliance. Appliance is nothing but the hardware machine on which we can run the HANA Database. So you can get these appliances from the hardware partners of SAP. So we know that the partner hardware suppliers for SAP HANA are like this. We have IBM, Dell, we have HP, we have Cisco, Fujitsu, Hitachi. These are all the hardware partners. What we have to do is, once we take a software licensing from SAP, we need to contact any of these hardware partners for the appliance. So generally, we'll have a doubt what kind of configurations we can expect from these partners, hardware partners. We can get anything ranging from 128 GB RAM going up to 100 TB RAM. We can get any of the configuration hardwares. First of all, how the customer identifies what hardware configuration is required for them. Usually, it's the responsibility of the administrators to find out what's the best suitable configuration for this customer requirements. And they perform a task called sizing. So once your administrators perform the sizing is basically a process to identify the hardware configuration requirements of the organizations. So to perform that, there will be some online tools provided by SAP in the marketplace. We have some tools like Pick Sizer. So that will allow the administrators to perform the sizing. So once after sizing is done, once they identify the hardware configuration requirements, and then they find out who is the best suitable hardware partner for them based on the benchmark standards provided by SAP. They can contact any of these hardware partners for procuring that hardware. And then what happens is, once they finalize the hardware partner, so once they go to the hardware partner, what these hardware partners will be doing is, they not only provide the hardware machine, what they do is they'll install HANA database in that hardware machine. So the appliance is delivered to the customer with HANA database installed. But if you want to install HANA database, another important prerequisite you remember, the operating system on which we can run HANA. Remember, the only operating system on which we can run HANA database is SUSE Linux Enterprise Server. This is the only operating system on which we can run HANA DB. So what these hardware partners will be doing is they will be installing this operating system in that appliance. On top of that, they'll install HANA database, and then that appliance will be delivered to the customers. It's only from SPS 06 onwards SAP is allowing the customers to perform that installation. Earlier we don't have any choice. We have to go to the hardware partners. Only those people they can do that installation and they can deliver to you. But now from SPS 06 onwards, either we can go to the hardware partners to have this installation done, or the customer can do their installations on their own. But that installations can be performed only by the certified certified HANA installers. Both options are available. Usually the standard process what they follow is the hardware partners that deliver the appliance with HANA database installed. And once the appliance is received by the customers, they can do the customization as per their requirements. So there will be some options provided by SAP for that. So there are a couple of these are the couple of important points we need to remember about HANA database. And then fine, HANA database is there. You have appliance where HANA database is running. But now how to work with the database? Suppose if I'm a technical person, I want to work with the HANA database, I know we'll be working from a client workstation. So we need an interface to work with your HANA database. So there should be an interface using which we can communicate with the HANA database and perform different activities. So what SAP has done is they provided a graphical interface for you called Hana Studio. This is the graphical interface provided to you. Using this we can connect with the HANA database, and then we can perform different activities. Depending on our roles and responsibilities part of the implementation, using this Hana Studio, we can perform administration. We can perform administration activities like backups, recoveries, configurations, monitoring, troubleshooting, performance tuning, security, user administration. All this we can take care of. And if I'm responsible for modeling, we can take care of modeling activities. So we can build the data models here by creating some information views. And if I'm responsible for development, we can develop the applications using this Hana Studio on top of HANA database. So one single graphical interface provided to you to perform different activities. So meaning of that is different technical people are going to use the same Hana Studio tool. So remember that Hana Studio is a graphical tool using which we can perform administration, modeling, and development by connecting to a HANA database. So that HANA Studio, which will be installing in a client workstation. So we know that we can't expect Linux operating system in the client workstations. Most of the client workstations will be in a Windows environment. That's why even though they have provided HANA database only for SUSE Linux operating system, whereas HANA Studio is available for Windows as well as Linux. So if it is installed in Windows environment, this is how it looks like. So we have SAP HANA, Hana Studio. This is the graphical tool. And you can see that already there are connected HANA databases. More importantly, if you can observe here, you can see that we can do administration, we can do modeling, and we can do development. So it depends on our roles and responsibilities part of the implementation, and depends on the privileges we have. Okay, anyhow, we are going to work with this tool a lot in the due course. Then, the next most important component as part of this platform edition is something called HANA Client. So what is this HANA Client? See, when we want to work with any database or when you want to connect with any database, we know we need some drivers like JDBC drivers, ODBC drivers, ODBO drivers. For any database connection, it may be Oracle or SQL Server like that. Similarly, as we know that HANA is also a database, obviously, when we know HANA is a database, we need some drivers to connect with your HANA database. So all those drivers required to communicate with your HANA database, they are providing them as part of this small software called HANA Client. Remember, HANA Client is not a tool. It's a small software consisting of all the drivers like JDBC, ODBC drivers required to communicate with your HANA database. A small example. Suppose if I want to use Microsoft Excel as a reporting tool and I want to connect to the HANA database to perform this reporting. So this Microsoft Excel should have a facility to connect with your HANA database. And that's nothing but a driver. So having the driver will be able to connect with the HANA database and get the data and display the data in a reported format here. So that's where you need these drivers. See this? If I go to this, some of the options available here, I can find an option called HANA MDX Provider. So this will allow you to connect with your HANA database. But how do you get this? This comes with your HANA Client. So we have to make sure that HANA Client is installed in your client workstation, which will allow you to connect with your HANA database, because basically it's consisting of all the drivers required to communicate with your HANA database. Not only this, even we use some ODBC connectivity sometimes. So when we want to create ODBC data source names here, we need some drivers, ODBC drivers. If you observe the list of drivers you have here, you can find something called HDB ODBC. So this will allow you to connect with your HANA database. So these drivers and all that comes with your HANA client, which will be installing in the client workstation. Your administrator will install it in the client workstation. So you can find something called HDB client. Because these three are the main core components of HANA. Without these three, there is no HANA implementation possible. So apart from this, there will be small software components. You're not worried about that, which will be used by the admin people, like host agents, loaders, and all that. But these are the technical things what we need to understand. There is a HANA database, there is a HANA Studio, and a HANA Client. And apart from this, generally, there is one tool provided part of this platform edition only, but which is used by non-technical end users. So there is a tool called Information Composer, which is also provided as a part of this platform edition. It's a tool which will be used by non-technical end users. That's what we are saying. So what they do, what a non-technical end user can perform with this. To understand the significance of this tool used by normal business end users, Small example you take. There is an employee, there is a business end user working in the company. He's having some data in a couple of files. So some transaction data is having in a couple of Excel files. But volume of data is very huge. Say, assume that he's having, say, 50,000 records in each of these files. You want to perform analysis of the data. It will be very difficult for him to perform the analysis of the data just by using those files. So in such cases, you want to use the power of HANA Database. So the options provided in the Information Composer is, without having any technical knowledge, this end user can upload the data from the file into the HANA Database. Just by a simple button click, you can perform that uploading of the data from the file into HANA. Not only uploading the data which is available in the files, he is having an option to compose the views. By composing the views, you can choose what columns data you want to analyze and what aggregations you want to perform. All that is possible by composing the views. So basically in the Information Composer we have two options. One is for uploading the data from the files, and the other one is composing the views. And moreover, this Information Composer need not be installed in the client systems. That is accessible through web browser. So he doesn't need to have any specific software installed. The end user doesn't need to have any specific software installed. So generally this tool will not be shown in the technical implementation landscapes, but just remember for information. But if you observe here, part of this platform edition, they are just providing only database and related tools for you. But we know that only by using HANA Database, we won't be able to provide a complete end-to-end solution. The important thing is, when you want to provide a warehousing solution along with your database, we need some replication technologies also, or the ETL tools. So that's where what they did is, they have introduced or they have released something called SAP HANA Enterprise Edition. This SAP HANA Enterprise Edition is an extension for the Platform Edition. Remember, it's an extension for the Platform Edition. Means, whatever the core components we have in the Platform Edition, all of them will be available, part of the Enterprise Edition. But along with this, along with the components of the Platform Edition, we are provided with some ETL tools like this. We're provided with the BODS, Business Objects Data Services. We know it's one of the replication technology for loading the data into HANA Database. And another one is SLT Replication Server. SAP Landscape Transformation. SLT stands for SAP Landscape Transformation Replication Server. So in addition to all the components of platform, they are also providing these ETL tools for you when you go with the HANA Enterprise Edition license. And then there is one more edition of HANA they've given called HANA Enterprise Extended Edition. So as the name suggests, it's an extension for Enterprise version. So whatever you have in Enterprise, all of them will be available for you, along with one more replication technology called Sybase Replication Server. So these are the three different editions of HANA which we get if you go with this 03 and 04. And then what happened is, from SPS 05 onwards, they did some changes for this licensing concept. What happened is, from SPS 05 onwards, a small change happened is they have started providing only two editions of HANA. One is Platform Edition, Another one is Enterprise Edition. So there's no more Enterprise Extended Edition. And then part of this Enterprise Edition only, they have included one more replication technology called DXE, Direct Extractor Connection. So from SPS 05 onwards, there is no Enterprise Extended, and we don't have Sybase replication server provided part of the license. But still, if a customer is insisting on having a Sybase replication server, he can have it, but he need to get that a separate license, but not part of the HANA license. If a customer is insisting on having a Sybase replication server, they can take the license separately from that. Okay. But one thing what you can observe here is part of these HANA licensings, they are not providing any reporting tools. Don't expect any default reporting tools with HANA license. That option is left for the customer. The customer has to decide what reporting tools they want to use based on their analysis requirements, and they can purchase those reporting tools separately. Anyhow, most of them are going with BO reporting, business objects reporting. Okay, this is as far as only the HANA is concerned, native HANA, what we are speaking about. So generally you'll have doubt why SAP is giving so many ETL tools or replication technologies. There is a reason, because we don't know, these are basically meant for replicating or extracting the data from different sources and loading the data into HANA. We don't know what type of source systems we come across, because organizations may have different types of source systems. Sometimes we have data in file format, sometimes we have data in database, sometimes there may be some data in applications. So we don't know type of source systems. There are different types of source systems and different formats of the data. Sometimes we get data in Excel files, sometimes we'll get data in FLAC files, sometimes in XML files, different formats of the data, and you'll have different conversion requirements. Conversion means transformations. While you're loading the data, you may have to do some conversions of the data. So based on these three factors, they basically consider which is a suitable replication technology. So they can go with one of them, they can go with all of them. It's up to the customer to decide. So typically, if you take any implementation landscape for HANA modeling and implementation, when they consider HANA as a warehousing solution, so a typical landscape consisting of all of this, along with some reporting tools and sources, data sources, the source systems from which we replicate the data. So that's why if you consider a typical implementation landscape for any organization for HANA modeling and implementation, this is how it looks like. Let me show you one diagram for understanding of the landscapes. This is how your HANA system landscapes looks like. You know what the landscape is? Collection of all the systems and applications which we use to provide for solution for a company. Landscapes varies. Here we are speaking about native HANA as a warehousing solution. So this is how a typical landscape looks like. So you can find almost everything what we discussed. We have HANA appliance here. It's pretty easy to understand, a simple landscape. HANA appliance we have. This is your HANA appliance, the hardware machine. where you can find this SLES 11SP1. SLES means the SUSE Linux Enterprise Server. That's operating system where we have HANA Database installed along with some software components. Then here you can find some sources for the data. From these sources only we have to extract or replicate the data and load the data into HANA Database. As I told you, we don't know what are these sources going to be. They may vary from company to company. Just few examples are given here. It may be an SAP ERP system, it may be SAP BW system, or it may be any non-SAP system. So from these different sources, to replicate the data into HANA Database, as we know, we have different replication technologies provided part of the HANA license. They can be business objects data services like this. These are data services. It can be an SLT system, SAP landscape transformation. It can be Sybase replication server. They are not showing it separately because we don't need a separate system for that. And it can be a DXE also. We can include DXE in this. So using those different replication technologies, once the data is extracted and loaded into HANA Database, once we have the data in HANA Database, using this Hana Studio, we do modeling, means we build the models, and then on top of that you can go for reporting. As I told you, they can go with any of the reporting tools. So most of the companies are preferring to have business objects reporting, because you know business objects is not one single reporting tool, it's a suite of reporting tools. So if they are going with the BO reporting, they need to maintain this business objects enterprise server, BOE. So that's why here the business objects enterprise is also shown. Now, suppose if I'm working as a technical person as a part of this implementation, I'm working from a client workstation, so I should have some tools to perform different activities. So what are those tools you can expect? So that's what you can see in this admin workstations. Admin workstation is a system where a technical person works. He may be an administrator, he may be a modeling consultant, he may be a developer. So it depends on the roles they play. They need different tools. So these tools need to be installed in the client workstation, the admin workstation, what we call it as. So you can see that the tools what we need, Hana Studio. That's what I've shown you here. We are actually working or seeing a client workstation, and this is a client workstation, and we have servers HANA running on separate server. You can find that SUSE Linux Enterprise Server operating system. See this. This is our HANA server, SUSE Linux Enterprise Server. But we are working from a client workstation. So in the client workstation, as it's shown you just now, we need to have tools like Hana Studio. And we need the softwares like HANA Client. You can see that in this diagram here. And apart from that, in case if we are responsible for loading the data using this BODS, say Business Objects Data Services, we need some tools like Data Services Designer. Data Services Designer is also a graphical tool, this one. It's part of BODS. This will allow you to design your data flows. If you want to load the data from one source system into HANA Database, we need to design the data flows. So we can design the graphical data flows by using this Data Services Designer tool. So if we are responsible for that, we have to use this tool. And then, not only that, we need something like SAP GUI, SAP Graphical Interface, which will allow you to connect with your applications like SLT or doing replications using SLT or DXE, to connect with some source systems like SAP ERP, it may be BW. This SAP GUI is required. And apart from that, in case if you are going with some BO reporting. You know, in business objects reporting, we need to design something called a universe. So to design those universes, use some tools like information design tool. Something like this. The business objects, business intelligence. Some tool like information design, and some reporting tools like web intelligence rich kind. Some tools like dashboards. Depends what reporting tools they use. You may go with Crystal reports. You may go with some reporting tools like Lumira. So Lumira is also a reporting. And sometimes we may need access to the admin tools in case if you are responsible for some configurations. And sometimes you may go with some reporting tools like Microsoft. So all that is shown in this admin workstation. You can see that on the right top corner we have something called admin workstation. Admin workstation is nothing but a client workstation where a technical person works. So we have to know what are the tools we need. So then when it comes to the end user workstations, we don't need any technical tools. The only thing we need to do is once you're done with this implementation, we have to provide the reports to the end users. Once we provide reports to the end users, the end user can perform analysis using those reports. So mostly we'll be presenting these reports to the end users through web browsers. So web access we need to provide. So in case if they are using something like Microsoft Excel as a reporting tool, then we have to make sure that the same client workstation, HANA Database client is also installed. Because without having HANA Database client, Excel will not be able to connect with the HANA Database. Whereas if you go with some BO reporting, which we'll be accessing through web browsers, so that BO report is accessed from the BO server. BO server in turn is connected to the HANA Database. So that's what you can see these arrow marks here. So typically wherever you go, if you consider HANA as a warehousing solution for HANA modeling and implementation, this is how your landscape looks like. So there may be a slight variations when it comes to the type of source systems we have. There may be a slight variation when it comes to the report. But that's how typically a landscape looks like. But apart from this, don't expect everything to be done on the production systems directly. What we'll be doing is we'll be having a implementation landscape for HANA like dev system, a quality assurance system for testing, and a production system. So typically what they do is they never maintain all these three on a single appliance. What they have is they will be having one appliance for development and quality and one appliance for production. It looks something like this. Let me show you how it looks like. Not this one. So typical landscape will be like this. Where they maintain on one HANA box dev and test system, and another HANA box we have production system. So typically that's how it will be. This is SAP recommended one. Because they don't need very high configuration appliances for development and testing, but they need very high configuration servers for production because they need to store that production data there. So whatever you see in this landscape, we'll be working with the same landscape here also in our environment. Our environment is having this. We have this HANA appliance. HANA appliance means we have HANA database. We have these different source systems. We have SAP ERP, VCC, we have BW, and some non-SAP. We can take some files and databases. And for replicating the data, we have SLT, we have DXE, and we have BODS configured already. And when it comes to reporting, we have the entire BO platform. And you want to use some tools like Lumira, we can work with those tools also. So we'll be working with the same landscapes. So that will give a complete understanding for you tomorrow when you work for implementations. You can feel the same way. So this is the basic understanding we need to know about, we need to have about these implementation landscapes as far as native HANA is concerned for HANA modeling and implementations. Okay, is that clear? Do you have any queries on this? So that I'll share you, don't worry. I'll give you the Dropbox links. And tomorrow morning you'll be getting access to your Dropbox. We'll be sharing the links with all of you. And then in a couple of days time will be, once we start working with the practicals, to do the hands-on, you'll be given a remote access also. Those details also will be sent to you, to your mail. And your schedule is fixed for this slot. We have this 4 p.m. IST is your scheduled slot from Monday to Friday. Yep, that's the only interface which SAP is providing to work with your HANA database. For administrators, apart from HANA Studio, there are a couple of other things. They can use something called DBA Cockpit for some of the admin activities. And they can use HDB SQL, one SQL interface also they're given to them. But we people as HANA modeling and implementation consultants will be working with HANA Studio only. Any other queries? Okay, fine. So before start working with this HANA Studio, practically doing some hands-on and all that, first we need to understand some of the basics of warehousing solutions. Maybe if you are coming from warehousing background, you might have already having that knowledge, but anyhow, we'll be discussing on that. So how we can, implement warehousing solutions for the customers. Part of these warehousing solutions, what are the major activities we do? So who is responsible for those activities? Most important thing is modeling. how we can do data modelings and all that we'll be discussing in the coming sessions. So tomorrow's topic will be data modeling. Okay, so you don't need to stop anything. What you do is once the session is closed, automatically the session which you are recording will be saved into the default location you have. The default location you'll be having, you can see that in the settings. You'll find that in your documents folder. So in documents folder you can find the recorded session. But as I told you, if you choose that conversion option, you wait for some time until that conversion is completed once the session is closed. And one more important point, let me tell you, in case someone want to leave the sessions in between, never close the meeting. If you close this go to meeting, you will get two options, leave meeting and end the meeting. Always go with leave meeting. Never end the meeting, because I'm giving organizer privileges. That's why I'm telling you this. Okay, fine. Tomorrow we'll continue. Tomorrow we'll be seeing the data modeling and how we can apply those data models in the SAP HANA. So any more queries you have, tell me. Fine. And I'm ending this session. We'll meet tomorrow then.